One is always one too many around me. Thus speaks the hermit. Always once one, in the long run that makes two. I and me are always too earnestly in conversation with one another. How could it be endured if there were not a friend? For the hermit, the friend is always the third person. The third person is the cork that prevents the conversation of the other two from sinking to the depths. Alas, for all hermits there are too many depths. That is why they long so much for a friend and for his heights. Our faith in others betrays wherein we would dearly like to have faith in ourselves. Our longing for a friend is our betrayer. Only through evaluation is there value, and without evaluation, the nut of existence would be hollow. Hear it, you creative men. A change in values, that means a change in the creators of values. He who has to be a creator always has to destroy. Peoples were the creators at first, only later were individuals creators. Indeed, the individual himself is still the latest creation. My brother, do you want to go apart and be alone? Do you want to seek the way to yourself? Pause just a moment and listen to me. He who seeks may easily get lost himself. It is a crime to go apart and be alone. Thus speaks the herd. The voice of the herd will still ring within you, and when you say, "We have no longer the same conscience, you and I," it will be a lament and a grief. Do you call yourself free? I want to hear your ruling idea, and not that you have escaped from a yoke. Are you such a man as ought to escape a yoke? There are many who threw off their final worth when they threw off their bondage. Free from what? Zarathustra does not care about that. But your eye should clearly tell me, free for what? Can you furnish yourself with your own good and evil, and hang up your own will above yourself as a law? Can you be the judge of yourself and avenger of your own law? It is terrible to be alone with the judge and avenger of one's own law. It is to be like a star thrown forth into empty space and into the icy breath of solitude. Today, you still suffer from the many, O man set apart. Today you still have your courage, whole and your hopes. But one day solitude will make you weary. One day your pride will bend and your courage break. One day you will cry, I am alone. One day you will no longer see what is exalted in you and what is base in you. You will see all too closely. Your sublimity itself will make you afraid, as if it were a phantom. One day you will cry, everything is false. There are emotions that seek to kill the solitary. If they do not succeed well, they must die themselves. But are you capable of being a murderer? My brother, have you ever known the word contempt? And the anguish of your justice in being just to those who despise you? You compel many to change their opinion about you. They hold that very much against you. You approached them and yet went on past them, that they will never forgive you. You go above and beyond them, but the higher you climb, the smaller you appear to the eye of envy, and he who flies is hated most of all. How could you be just towards me? That is how you must speak. I choose your injustice as my portion. They throw injustice and dirt at the solitary. But, my brother, if you want to be a star, you must shine none the less brightly for them on that account. And be on your guard against the good and just. They would like to crucify those who devise their own virtue. They hate the solitary. Be on your guard too against holy simplicity. Everything which is not simple is unholy to it. And it too likes to play with fire, in this case, the fire of the stake. And be on your guard too against the assaults your love makes upon you. The solitary extends his hand too quickly to anyone he meets. Too many men you ought not to give your hand, but only your paw. And I should like it if your paw had claws, too. But you yourself will always be the worst enemy you can encounter. You yourself lie in wait for yourself in caves and forests. Solitary man, you are going the way to yourself, and your way leads past yourself and your 7 devils. You will be a heretic to yourself, and a witch and a prophet, and an evildoer and a villain. You must be ready to burn yourself in your own flame. How could you become new if you had not first become ashes? Solitary man, you are going the way of the Creator. You want to create yourself a god from your 7 devils. Solitary man, you are going the way of the lover. You love yourself, and for that reason you despise yourself, as only lovers can despise. The lover wants to create because he despises. What does he know of the love who has not had to despise precisely what he loved? Go apart and be alone with your love and your creating, my brother. Injustice will be slow to limp after you. Go apart and be alone with my tears, my brother. I love him who wants to create beyond himself and thus perishes. Thus spoke Zarathustra.